Hello everyone. Today's video is going to be about BlackBerry, and specifically the newer BlackBerry, the QNX operating system BlackBerries. We've gotten a lot of them come in lately for some strange reason. This is how these things work here. Apparently, we get a bunch of Samsungs or we get a bunch of iPhones or whatever, and just recently we got a bunch of BlackBerries. So we got a passport. We got a passport. We got this. This is a Q10. It's just they got a different model number, but it's still QNX, still Q10. It's just a white one. And we also got another Q10, and all for ChipOff. So we already performed the recovery. So on the passport, it was a water damaged phone. It was beyond repair. The only thing left was a ChipOff. So we removed the chip, and this is a bit of an underfill, but I'll get to this in a second. So the purpose of the video is that I looked around YouTube and I've noticed there's no real solution, or even on the internet, there's no real solution on bypassing the passcodes. So the second phone here, this Q10 actually had a passcode, and the customer entered it 9 times. He was in the last final passcode, and you know, all the great tools we have here, they can't get into these phones because there's no solution that they found. The only solution is to actually pull the chip from these phones. So you know, it's very important that the phone is not encrypted. By default, most consumers don't enable encryption. This is a secondary option in the phone. You can actually go ahead and enable encryption and encrypt the data, and that's that. Or it's done by MDM. So if you get a BlackBerry from your employer, they might enable encryption by default to protect your data or their intellectual property or whatever. And the third BlackBerry was also password protected, and they didn't try it even once. They figured there's no way of getting into it. So again, the only solution on this BlackBerry was also to remove the chip, and we did, and we decoded the data. Again, no encryption. Decoding is fairly straightforward. Once you have the bin file, it goes into UFED and it will decode it, and you can get the deleted text messages, all that good stuff. So I don't have footage of us removing the chip in particular because BlackBerry uses a different kind of method, a different kind of underfill on these chips, and the underfill is really hard and it's very difficult to remove. So we kind of find a way of removing this underfill, and we don't want to show it on video because this is our method. We also have to be extremely careful with these chips because these chips are very temperature sensitive. So we found there a cooler method of removing them. It's still using heat, but not so much heat. We're able to pull the chips off and recover the data. So let's get back to the real reason why I made this video, because the reason I made this video is because there's a lot of misleading videos on YouTube. There's a guy saying, oh yeah, get into your phone with a passcode, and you clearly watch the video, he erases the entire phone. There's nothing to recover from this phone. The only solution is to pull the chip. There's no other easy way of doing this. There's nothing, no special software, there's no special magic stick. You hit the phone and boom, is your data, here's your password. No. The only way is to remove the chip. As long as the phone is not encrypted, you'll get this data. So let's put these phones under the microscope. Let's look at different types of underfill that BlackBerry uses. The passport actually uses some sort of silicone that Samsung uses. It's very soft. Once it was heated up, it was actually that chip came off pretty easily. But once again, these chips don't like heat whatsoever. That means these chips are very cheap. I've seen chips take a lot higher temperatures before getting damaged, and the reason I know this is because we've done a lot of BlackBerries in the past where we had some bit errors on the chip after removal, and I know the chip were fine because the phones were working. So this is the reason why we have to be very careful when removing these chips, that the heat will just destroy them, or it might actually make them unreadable. And we've had this before where the chip just wouldn't read. But the chip was working fine in the phone before removal. So these things do happen. Lately, every single BlackBerry we work on, the chip comes right off. There's no issues. We can read them no problem. I think the white BlackBerry, we had a bit of a problem reading, but once we got it going, I think it was just one of the legs was, one of the pins was dirty on the chip, and it was actually reading. So Anyways, let's put it in the microscope. Let's have a look at it. Okay, so here's the chip after cleaning. Let's focus this a little bit. So here's the chip after cleaning. We removed the underfill and we retinned every pin. So this is what it looks like after cleaning. There was a bit of a scratch here. That's not a big deal. So this is the the board it came from. This is a BlackBerry Passport. Uses some sort of a different underfill. It looks hard here, but it's actually pretty soft. It easily melts with a bit of heat. See, it melts here. So this was easy to clean. Now let's look at the BlackBerry Q10. Is this blood gunk, and this underfill is really hard. Even heat doesn't really melt it so well. No, it starts to crumble. There we go. This was just flux. So what happens is when you apply heat to it, it starts to crumble, but it stays hot. The melting thing here, this is just flux. This is definitely it here. See, it's not really melting. Let's get a better closer look here. Yeah, so this is the biggest reason why the removal of chips on the BlackBerry is so difficult. Plus the heat, and even with enough heat, this thing will not want to lift. Plus you got these stupid shields that are really on there, and you can't really use heat to lift them because you might cause damage to the chip. So here's one of the chips after cleaning. This one here we didn't retin, we didn't have to. She read okay. The black stuff was really hard to remove. All that underfill was really bad. So let's look at the last one. Okay, so this is the last BlackBerry. Same thing, this super hard underfill, and here's the chip. By accident here I made a little scratch in the chip, but luckily the scratch wasn't deep enough to damage any layers, so we're okay here. So now here we move to UFED Physical Analyzer, and I've only have the 2 cases loaded out of the 3. So for the passport, we actually use the BlackBerry Q10 template. I mean, it's not a big deal, but the reason we have to use the Q10 is because when we try to select BlackBerry Passport, let me just start a new project here so you can see. When we try Passport did not have physical options, so the best thing was to actually choose a Q10. I mean, QNX is all the same for most of these BlackBerries anyway, so it would have worked. I was thinking of trying a generic BlackBerry. Let me just pull it up here. The only problem with the generic one was that the generic did have a physical option, as you'll see in a second. There's the generic one, but I think this is the legacy generic, so we haven't tried it. We're going to try it, but since we know Q10 template works on passports and others, so that's what we used. So there it is, the passport, and we see quite a bit of deleted data. And here's the second BlackBerry. This is the actual Q10. This is the other one that we've done, the bottom one here. And same idea. We got a lot of deleted data, pictures, whatnot, and that's it. Anyways, thanks for watching. We're gonna have more videos coming soon. Make sure you subscribe.